I got this Nikola Tesla up here for a reason. The reason being that I want to kind of display why these things keep going the way they go with, the powers that be seem to always be in control. Well, one basically is that people that have the most money and wealth, they got that way by having an attitude that people need to be charged as much money as possible, and they want a racket that only they control. Now, Nikola Tesla came out with something at one point in time, allegedly, that he was going to provide free electricity to the world wirelessly. Yet J.P. Morgan, so the story goes, put an end to that and basically tried to financially ruin him as much as possible, because free electricity wireless meant there was no way to meter it. There's no way the people on the top could actually charge the minions as much money as possible. Now, in the case of Nikola Tesla, this is a person that's extremely bright. Actually, people don't understand what the hell he did. There's so many theories out there. I don't want to get into all that garbage. But the point is, he wasn't cunning and shrewd enough to implement what he needed to do. And that usually is the problem. I would urge that people are actually trying to fight the power that be, whatever you want to call it. A lot of times the solutions are extremely simple. They've already been here for ages. One of the solutions is hemp, right? Try to get that grown in places, but keep spreading the word on it all the time, just like a religious kook. You got people out there throwing the Bible in your face left and right. Throw the word about hemp out in people's face left and right. And you're not going to actually get lethargic people to actually take any kind of action. It's going to take a hell of a lot more than that. But basically, what really needs to be done to fight the powers to be that are like suppressing basically the masses or whatever, the lethargic masses, is cunning and shrewdness. Cunning and shrewdness. This is one area that Nikola Tesla lacked woefully. Woefully. Very smart, but no cunning and shrewdness. He goes on to state, many generations pass, our machinery will be driven by a power obtainable at any point in the universe. Basically, envision a time when everything could be driven by free energy. Now, what progressed mankind the most in the last 100 years was the event of coal, followed by crude oil. Cheap energy. Cheap energy allowed more production. And, I don't really have a problem with people using all the resources of the earth and all this kind of garbage. I don't care about saving the planet, but quite obviously there's a hell of a lot more efficient ways of doing things than are being done today. Also cheaper. But the problem is, somebody can't own that racket. Basically, the racket, say for instance, like if we call the industrial hemp and medicinal marijuana, two things that are great products that can benefit mankind greatly and for thousands of uses. People will not allow that have interest in chemical companies, pharmaceutical companies, and crude oil energy industry, plastics, and various things like that, even the food industry. They'll find ways to try to stop it. Well, you know what I tell the people? Just do it. You're already doing it anyway. You're already doing it anyway. I think that actually sometimes you need a lot of better advertisement out there. Now, I'm going to show this next guy, Rudolph Half Diesel, because it relates to hemp again. But I would actually, as an advertising campaign, which is very, very strong. You want a very, very, very strong advertising campaign for medicinal marijuana oil? You know what you do? I wish I did know how to grow the garbage, Maybe I will get into it someday. Maybe someday soon, because I'm an idiot, I'm taking a risk like that because I don't smoke the stuff. But you know what I would do? If I was a person that had access to smoke, buying, growing weed or whatever like that, and I know it's being grown all over the United States, in people's closets and freaking underground and under whatever the hell they got it. They probably got it in the trunk of their car for all I know, with an ultraviolet light that runs off the battery when they drive to work, for all I know, right? But they're doing it anyway. It does not require a lot of medicinal marijuana oil to, work against cancer. It only requires like 60 grams over a period of 90 days. 60 grams, like a couple ounces, a little over 2 ounces, which is not much. Now, if you gave that to a person that was terminally ill with cancer, on the sly, and he did something. Well, first off, if you get caught, if you go to a trial by jury, you know what? They could throw that out. I don't give a damn what freaking law you broke. You remember trial by jury? Trial by jury, trial by peers. They could say not guilty, and guess what? The law starts getting changed like that, because if you're doing it for that reason, to save a person's life, and you got the balls to do that, guess what? Guess what? You could start changing the laws that way. But say you saved that person's life with medicinal marijuana oil. You think you got some heavy-duty advertisement out there? Say the person lives for years and years and years and years. You know what that person's going to be saying to everybody? I got saved from cancer, terminal cancer, that all the doctors couldn't help me with because it was done by medicinal marijuana oil. Now, if you actually had a lot of serious effort in this direction, guess what would happen? It would turn around. That's why I say the lemmings can turn things around real fast if they wanted to. The problem is lemmings do not act until their back is to the wall. They do not proact, they only react. I don't react, I proact. I put up this guy Rudolph Diesel again. I talked about him before, about he had his mysterious, strange death. And I do want to point out again that his engine, the diesel engine, which lasts much longer than the gasoline engine, I know there's a couple disadvantages, that it's more expensive, but it's not that much more expensive considering it lasts twice or 3 times as long as a regular gasoline engine, was originally designed to run on hemp oil. Even though it does not go into this article, it stays like Wikipedia, they talk about vegetable oil and peanut oil. Well, it was really designed mainly to run on hemp oil #1, which it can without any modifications, even as it was originally constructed, or with minor modifications today. So actually the energy problem is already solved. The thing is, you're not going to be able to explain it to them. They already know this. So what the hell's the point of debate? Remember this, cunning and shrewdness. A guy like Nikola Tesla could debate anybody about the aspects of free energy and a better way of doing things. They shut him up. They shut him up. Where Nikola Tesla was stupid, he wasn't cunning and shrewd enough. Remember to be cunning and shrewd. And cunning and shrewd is one method. It would be to take something like some of the people that are growing marijuana in this country, there's probably millions of people doing that illegally, right? To smoke it. Well, why not make some of the medicinal hemp oil and give it to people that are terminally ill and a doctor can't do a damn thing about them and they're on hospice because they're going to die of cancer? Why not try, not like they have to do it. If they want to do it, go ahead. But guess what? Every person that works on, you got some heavy-duty advertisement out there, and you actually done somebody a lot of good, right? So be shrewd, be cunning, and work at it too. Now, I want to point out one other thing out there, and I knew about this for a while. This is another thing that can actually solve the energy crisis. It's been known, and they do it a little bit, but it can be done a lot. And actually, this is that there's enough hydroelectric power and tidal power to actually power pretty much every damn power plant out there. The moon actually will, makes the tides of the earth. That's what pulls the tides. You're talking about a tremendous force. You don't even need nuclear power plants. It's a joke. You don't need it. There's actually stuff, and this doesn't go into this article, but I talked to people that were like, it was a guy from the UK. He was an engineer, and I forgot his name. I have to look it up again, but I actually talked to him in person and everything. He was an engineer that actually developed a thing in the submarines that generate electrical power through the way the damn submarine breathes or something. You can apply that to the tidal power on a larger scale, and you can have all kinds of electricity, free electricity, basically, as long as it goes as long as the machinery doesn't wear out. I mean, people talk about the disadvantages of solar power because the sun has to shine, it's expensive, and all this garbage. They talk about the disadvantages of wind turbines because the wind has to blow, and then if there's a tornado or whatever. Tidal power has none of these problems. And the reason it has none of these problems, even in a hurricane and where they have like tidal waves or whatever the hell it is, you don't have that problem because they're down deep enough where the water is not going to be it's not going to be turned up as much. In other words, there could be a raging storm up above, but if you go down far enough, you still have the effects of the tides, but it's not like it's just they're smooth. They go in and they go out. It's actually a very simple design. It doesn't work in every area of the world because some places are more affected by tides than others, but there's a gazillion areas in the world where this could be used. This alone could solve the energy crisis. Totally free power. Not discussed. Remember that. This is not discussed. Now, the point is, you could bring this up and you could show them that it's dirt cheap. The problem is, you're knocking out another entrenched racket. So there's always going to be something. But I always want people to remember is always be cunning, always be shrewd, and always keep an eye out for people that are trying to screw you over, because they will. You're not going to be able to reason with people like that. Their whole game, and you know, the way they present things, for the most part, is in the smoothest, most polite way. Like they're benefiting mankind. Or actually, they're lining their pocketbook. I know people go, oh, well, what can we do about it? Well, you know what? Do whatever you want about it. But actually, in my case, I know what I do about it. I actually take alternative routes on pretty much every damn thing there is, and I share them. The one thing I do like the best, though, is the alternative health. Because putting a lot of those snake oil medicine clowns out of business that are in the major hospitals would be a very good thing, in my opinion, because I think they're a bunch of bloodsuckers. You know, I did talk about the colloidal silver, and I know they talk about, you know, the blue man and everything like that. But you know what? Say, for instance, people had a danger of turning blue. Well, like, I just want to give an example and go here on a little bit of a, you know, sidetrack. But say, for instance, there's a danger of people turning blue. You know what? Say you use colloidal silver, and say it's manufactured in a large way, right? You know it's cheap to make. It's very cheap. And if you're using it for topical applications like bathroom disinfectant, floor disinfectant, hospital disinfectant, you know how much money they pay for stupid disinfectants in hospitals and stuff like that? All kinds of money. Because it's a racket. They can make colloidal silver, say, from 3 nines for like topical applications on walls and floors and stuff like that for practically nothing. Practically nothing. I mean, you're talking $1 a gallon, if that. On volume, probably like 25 cents a gallon. 25 cents a gallon. And it disinfects everything perfect, right? Think of all the applications that are out there for different things. They don't do this, and that's one example, but if you start looking at the budgets in all these medical institutions, just on that one line item, you can chop that thing out with just an application of colloidal silver. They won't do it. So, I don't run those guys, but you know what? I say to hell with them. Don't even use them. Don't even use them. You don't need them. But these are the things I'm going to kind of drive home on, and just beware that when you're dealing with the people that are the powers that be, they're very shrewd, they're very cunning. And I did mention even about with, you know, I'm going to keep mentioning this because it probably piss people off, about with Ron Paul. My sense is, it's not just my senses. I know there's something isn't right with that setup at all. Not at all. Not at all. I would urge people not to get too far behind that, but get behind it 100% in principle. But don't put your 100% of your money into backing that guy's campaign, because you're probably throwing it down an empty pit. But just want to kind of put out some ideas about things, because when people, you know, if we look back, even back here to 1912, 1913, when Rudolph Diesel was alive, the whole world could have took a different turn as far as pollution, energy consumption, and all this type of stuff. And which, if you lower the cost of transportation, you lower the cost of trucking and everything like that, which lowers the cost of goods. But it didn't take that turn. People are easily pushed into parameters and corralled. And I'm telling you right now, you got to be cunning and you got to be shrewd. Nikola Tesla was extremely smart. He had a lot of bright ideas. he lacked cunning and shrewdness. Big time. Big time. It is much more important to be cunning and shrewd. Much more important. Just remember that. And it's not a matter of educating the elite. They know the deal better than you do. And they want that racket to continue. So just keep that in mind. Keep fighting them. Piece at a time.